Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Modern Explorer. I'm going to give you a little update, and then we're going to read a cool little story, an encounter story. Well, first off, I haven't been able to go to the field for the last month. I hurt myself, and it's going to take a little time to recover. I rammed my toe into just the side of like a concrete slab on the sidewalk. I wasn't paying attention, wearing these sandals, and I just rammed my toe right in there. It's been like a month, and it's a slow process. I had no idea how much I need my toe, and how much it hurts to hit your toe hard. So I'm waiting for the nail to either fall off or regrow. But yeah, it's just gonna take some time. So in the meantime, I'm just gonna be kind of on walk arrest. I had to put myself on walk arrest because I kept trying to walk too much, and I kept re-injuring it. So I'm just like a lion stuck in a cage, or something to that extent. So I'm just going to be kind of reading stuff out here, kind of what I've done in the past, and going over some of your comments, because some of your comments that you've left are really intriguing, ask really good questions, or are great encounter stories, of these encounters you've had with this North American hominid. And hopefully here in a month or so, I can just get back out into the mountains. It's driving me insane. Like I said, I never realized how much I like to walk and run around until you can't. And this thing is a slow heal. At least now, the toe doesn't hurt, but the nail is still taking forever to decide either to fall off or regrow. I don't know what it's going to do. It's on its own program at this point. So I got new boots, which we'll see how well they fit. Because the other problem I've been having is, since my toes and my feet have been expanding, getting wider, the shoes I've been wearing don't fit me anymore properly. And because my feet have been getting stronger and expanding the way they should be, because a lot of people's feet, they're deformed, that big toe goes in, you have a flat arch, and it really messes with the rest of the way you walk and your gait, and it keeps your feet, for the most part, pretty narrow, the way mine have been for a long time. But now that they finally spread out, they've been hitting the sides of my shoe, because they get too thin too quickly in the front, and it's been messing with the nail. So not only do I have an injury on my one foot, the other one has the nails partly peeled off because of all the abrasions hitting it so much. Again, the wait continues, but at least I have new gear that when I can finally get out there, hopefully it'll work even better. All right, so I think those are the updates. If I think of something right here, also my Jeep's still down. I need to replace the engine. That's going to take some time and labor and money. So that's just on the block. And because now I can't even go in my Jeep to cool places, and I can't even walk because of my toe, I decided just to take a semester of school, use my GI Bill, and just learn some stuff. And that's what I'm going to be doing this fall. And so that's I'm just going to learn as I heal. And then once I can get out into the field again, I'm going. Oh, I cannot wait. Anyway, so basically what I'm going to read here is I'm going to be focusing for this time on the comments on the video I posted, which is Colorado Bigfoot documentary, Facing Sasquatch, which is something you all should go look at, and I'll put it in the description below, because this goes over all the evidence and everything I did when I went out to the field to go have an interaction with these hominids. And this is the first time I went out, not just to by mistake run into them, which happened in the past, but this is the first time I got some confidence and got some courage to go face my fears and try to build this hypothesis and go out into an area and wait it out until I got interactions. So I cover a lot of the evidence I found, a lot of things that occurred, and it's it's the first documentary I've ever made. I thought it was pretty good for my first time. There's a lot of stuff that could have improved upon it. And there's a lot of stuff that's changed as far as the interpretation of the evidence, which I'll eventually get into down the road. But this is a good starting point. If you want to find out like my personal journey and the things that I've been through, check that documentary out. Anyway, in that documentary, there's a lot of other people that have replied with their own stories and their own interactions. And so we're going to go over one right now. And his name's Samuel. At least that's like his tag name on YouTube. So I'm just going to read this out, and then we can talk about it a little bit. All right, so he goes, and this is about a year ago. He says, wow, that was... And also, disclaimer, I've modified a little bit of these comments just so they're easier to read. So I've added or subtracted some of the words just to make it easier for me to read to you guys. Okay. Wow, that was a great video. I learned a lot just by watching it. Thank you for sharing. I've been working on this one area in the Black Hills of South Dakota because on a camping trip that our family went to for many years off trails where other people won't go, next to a little waterfall, I ran into one that was no more than 10 yards from me. She scared the living shit out of me, and she stood approximately 8 feet tall. I just looked at her. She had something on her back, and I'm not sure if it was, it might have been her baby. I saw little hands holding onto her shoulders. That's how close she was to me. We stared at each other, and I don't know for how long. I was frozen in my tracks. But then she just walked away. That was about 35 years ago. Once you see one of them, that's when you become a true believer. And no one can ever tell you that they are not real. Because they are real. It took me many tries in that spot before they would interact with me. Now I know there's a clan of 9 in and around that area. I know every November to March they migrated up north. How do I know this? Well, I've been traveling up in those areas during that time, and no recent signs, or there are no signs at all. But then again, back in mid-April, you will see signs everywhere, and it's so amazing. It's a scary place where my family and friends used to go hunting for game when we were much younger, until that day 35 years ago when I ran into one. Since that time, the family stopped hunting in that area. Didn't want to shoot them by mistake, but we will still go there to camp only and try to interact with them. We do have a gifting area next to the waterfall. They love apples and hard candy and any kind of nuts. Out of the clan of 9, only 2 have come up to camp really close where you can see their outline of their bodies. I think it's the same female that I ran into 35 years ago with what I think is her child standing next to her. Those are the only 2 that really like to interact with my family. The rest are always at a distance, never up close like these 2. So there you go. Like that's one of many stories, like in many encounters that people have relayed back to me either through emails or through the comments publicly. And I'd like to thank Samuel for sharing, because it's a great experience when you run into one, and it's like seeing aliens, because it's something that you don't think should exist, and we have like this perception and paradigm that we're the only intelligent species on the planet, when in reality, most species in general are intelligent. That's why they're still alive. Like that's why they're here. But to run into one that we can relate to on the same level as meeting another intelligent being that we feel like might be at our same level or even higher than our intelligence. And so that's it's so crazy, just to get those opportunities. And I don't know about you, but my first opportunity was terrified. I ran away. Obviously they got pretty aggressive with me, but that's only because I was aggressive back. I mean, it's not every day you get little rocks thrown at you in the middle of the night. And I was in an area where there's fairly a good fair amount of people around. So I just thought it was kids messing with me. So I just ran in there to try to outflank them. And they weren't little kids or teens messing with me. They're just very big, hairy people that were not happy that I had just outflanked them like that. But to see, I've never seen a baby before. That would be so amazing. And I think he's right, like where he talks about only certain members of the group are willing to get close. That's kind of the same experience I think I've had, because I don't know if I've ever ran into like the alpha, the big guy. I think most of my interactions have been with the juveniles and like the other adults that aren't like the big ones. I'm making assumptions here, obviously, but it does make me wonder what the dynamics are and how they interact and how they work. And he talks about migrations. I think they do. I don't know. They don't necessarily go very far. Like in my area, I propose and suspect that they go up and down with the elevations depending, like a lot of the animals do. Except I have this view that could be wrong, that during the winter time they actually go up higher in elevation, or they're doing some type of hibernation somewhere, because there's a lot less tracks and interaction activity during the winter time. And if there's hunting as actively as it looks like they do during like the warmer months, then we should see tracks everywhere where they're doing that. So they're either one, they're not hunting at all. Maybe they store food, maybe a little bit of both. Two, maybe they go up to a much higher elevation that's harder to get to, and so it's just missing their tracks and them hunting. But most animals come down to lower elevation, especially deer and game. So they're going to have a much harder time finding game further up there. So it leads to the conclusion that maybe they do like intermittent hibernation, which is something that's becoming more and more acceptable as we start finding out more, understanding like the genetics and seeing like different primates within the fossil records that had this ability. In fact, it's even within our like genes that they're just not being expressed, but we could express them. In fact, I think that monks that go into deep meditations where their heart only beats like once per minute, which is insane. Like I thought I was doing really well when I got my heartbeat down to like, what was it, something like 48 beats per minute. I was like, wow, that's so low, until I looked it up, and I was just like slapped in the face to find out those monks go down to like 1 beat per minute, which like that's like barely alive. But but scientists think during these experiments that they might be activating the hibernation gene expression, like within them in epigenetics, that allows us to go into hibernation-like state. So we have this capability. So that might be something that maybe, I'm just guessing again, when you hear those stories of people getting frozen, how they're able to, they think they're dead, but then when they become unfrozen, they wake up again, and they're alive, and even though they were frozen for hours, days. And so maybe we're seeing this system kick in that it would look like death, because your heartbeats, your metabolic rate's going to go down so low, like there's barely going to be any signs of life. So that's a sign to consider, the migrations. And the migrations definitely, I don't think, at least here, I don't think they're very far. Like they definitely migrate a lot, like from different area to area during the summers, but I don't think they go that far back up into the foothills. And obviously every situation and place is different, but here the snow melts relatively quickly. And something that like I'll do during like the winter months, because if they are active, and because I had one of my run-ins during winter, so it's not like they're inactive, but there's definitely, I think, like less activity when they're snowbound. But here along the Front Range, the snow will melt right away, and there'll be like all these openings that are easy, the corridors, I would say, where the sun hits hard, where you can get in and out. And the animals use that too, to go back and down from the foothills to higher elevations down here to the more open plain type areas. So assumedly they might use those routes as well, if they're being active as during the winter time. Again, speculation based on a few experiences. Yeah, what do you guys think? Have you guys had anything similar? Have you guys had any evidence of migrations within like a group that you're familiar with? And if so, what kind of are these migration routes? Like, are they moving during like winter months, higher elevation, different areas where there's more water, more sun? or not moving at all, no activity at all. Like, tell me about it. Like, but let me also know like the terrain. Like, let me know the terrain, like the type of environment. Like here in the Rocky Mountains, we have a ton of life zones between the plains and the mountains itself. Like you just go through like, you know, the plains, montane, alpine, subalpine, and then alpine. So you have like a ton of like life zones there. So let me know that, because I'm curious. I want to know like what you guys have dealt with, like what the interactions that you've had, where they come from, like, or further down south. There's evidence, you know, like where it's like a lot more arid and humid, that they just go from the mountains, use these washes to get to the lowlands and hit like these main tributaries and rivers. And so like it kind of changes their movement routes. In fact, it looks like there's a lot more movement down there, but it also is a lot easier to move like long distances because it's more open and flat. Yeah, so let me know. Also, I always forget to say this, and I do appreciate it. Like, subscribe, and put that notification button on so you can know when there's new videos coming out. And if you've made it this far already, also let me know like what I can do to kind of improve like these videos. Like, did I talk too much? Did I say like a subject not long enough? Are there other subjects you'd like me to talk about more? Because basically the way I see with these that I can do right now easily without too much investment of time, which is important right now. Give me a nudge on ideas that might improve what I'm doing right now. Because the way I'm seeing it is I kind of read like someone's story or someone's question and ideas and thoughts, and then I kind of elaborate on it and kind of like my own personal experience and what I think they might mean. And if you like this, ask questions that you want me to talk about, and I'll add them in videos. During this time where I'm kind of just stuck and going in a different direction right now, like going to school, so that'll take some of my time, I can still do these relatively simple videos and give you guys some information, and we kind of talk about a lot of stuff, because there's a lot of things, you know, like I don't even talk about, we don't discuss, because I just don't bring them up, or I've been wanting to do like a much nicer video on it to kind of present it, you know, like the hair samples, like the bones, like these deer bones that have just been snapped, multiple ones put in like a pile that I found it nearby, like the site of my interactions. So there's a lot of cool evidence that I want to share, but I want to take the time to build like the production and make it look nice, which is hard. Like, it's hard to, and takes a lot of time to make something look good. And it's hard to get, like, you know, like especially out in the field or just anywhere, like the audio and the content is just, it takes a long time to put it all together and find all the content to make it work. Especially nowadays, especially if I don't have like any B-roll of it, I have to go search for it online and find whatever's free, because I can't afford to go like find stock footage and pay for it. I would love to, but I either have to make it myself or I have to find it for free. So that is like a search. Anyway, I probably talked too long, but thank you for listening, and thank you for the support and being part of the channel. And hopefully I can just keep like making these. I already built a few more scripts of different videos I want to do, and I'm trying my best to make this more regular, but life happens, and so hopefully that I can make this more regular, because I know I've just been jumping around, but life's, you know, like it's just a roller coaster ride. So thank you guys, love you guys, and I'll see you soon.